Everybody come and catch the show. You want dad jokes, they got plenty of those. So relax and listen on as Dev and Kyle start the apocalypse.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy? We got a weird record for today with an afternoon on a Saturday record.
Thanks to internet issues, connectivity.
This is the fourth time we've tried to record in the last 4 days.
Fourth? Well, are you counting every single time that we were trying to record that night as an opportunity, a chance, a try, a shot, a throw, a toss?
Speaking of which, this is Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse.
No, it's not.
The show started. The show started. Yeah, it is.
No.
It's two dads making a podcast. That's the joke.
That's it.
How you been?
Hey, August is here.
It is. August is here. It's our very first Tuesday drop, by the way.
It's hot. And I know it's hot for you. I feel bad for complaining about the heat considering.
Why?
Considering what you have to go through. And it's an every year thing for you. Because every year you have to deal with the ungodly heat of Satan's asshole.
No.
In Arizona.
The streak is over.
Oh, it's over? You're cool now? You're chill? You've calmed down?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we fell below 110 degrees Fahrenheit for the first day. It was 31 days consecutive temperatures at or above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, aka 43.4 Celsius if you haven't been to the moon.
If you haven't been to the moon. Or you live anywhere else outside of the United States.
Same thing.
Right? We're like the last democratic nation that doesn't use the metric system.
And the first democratic and only democratic nation to be on the moon. So I'm correct.
True. But we use metric system for astronauts. So we're like, hey, we're going to use this to get to the moon. But that's it. We'll use this numbering mathematical system, units of measurement when we're not on the planet.
They did have that Mars rover that fucked up because somebody did a Fahrenheit calculation and another person did a metric, not a Fahrenheit, but an imperial calculation. And somebody else, I think it was feet versus meters. And that miscalculation meant that Martian satellite went crashing right into the atmosphere of Mars. They launched it all the way there. And then they were like, oops, just kidding. This guy thought that the code took feet and this guy thought that the code took meters. We missed the atmosphere. And by missed, we mean hit it. And we're fucked, and it burned up.
Yeah. Whoops. That's why we all need to just be on the same scale for that kind of shit.
Could you imagine, like, turning that in as your annual performance review? You're like, hey, how'd your projects go this quarter?
So, Jim, how'd you do this year? Let's look at your body of work.
Yeah, which one do you think got in trouble for it? The metric guy or the feet guy? Because I feel like the feet guy is probably the guy who's, like, different than NASA, right? Like most of the project is probably done in metric because that's how scientists are. But the one guy who just typed his equations in feet has all of society to fall back on.
Not all of society.
All of America is in feet. And if all of NASA is in feet and the one guy did it in meters, he should be fired. But if all of NASA is in feet, if all of NASA is in meters, and then the one guy just put his in feet, that feels like a mistake where you're like, well, I don't know if we can just straight fire him for doing calculations the normal way.
But you can when you blow up millions of dollars. You can definitely fire him over that in that instance. But it almost gives me, I'm imagining the scenario is this guy typically, or girl,
person,
this scientist, this human being, there we go, took their measurements, their calculations, and it was like they went home and they were working from home to finish it up because they weren't done with all their calculations and this needed to be done by this deadline. And being at home, one of their kids or their significant other went, why is all this in metric? And changed it over to feet.
Ooh,
They didn't know,
No.
turned it all in, and that's how it happened.
That's not.
in my brain, that's how it worked. I know it didn't, but that's a John Hughes movie right there.
Does your partner think about coming down to your office and changing all of your equations on your work for your job? Because my partner would never touch, my wife would never touch my work.
No.
Okay. I feel like your theory's a little bit out there.
But if I had something open, if I had a screen open, she might come down. I mean, but this is the thing. She never would come down here. She rarely comes down here. But what she does, if a screen's open, she might, check something out and look at it and go, what's this? Well, that doesn't seem right. Even though she has no clue what the hell she's looking at most of the time. But yeah, I could see it being with some people that I know. I could see that happening, like legitimately happening in certain scenarios. But that's just a couple people I know that have that kind of relationship and that personality.
I mean, if it's two rocket scientists who get together, maybe you'd say like, hey, could you look over my equations? That I could see. My wife and I work in two completely different domains of knowledge, right? I do technology. She does pharmacy.
Right.
So first of all, her work is important and mine is just getting people TV over the internet. Like no one dies. People would like to think that they die if they don't get their Netflix, but no one dies if they don't get their Netflix.
I mean, I've seen some 4-year-olds have some tantrums.
In fact, I think it's scientifically provable that more births are attributed to Netflix outages than deaths are attributed to Netflix outages. I think we could just say categorically that that's true. Hey, the Netflix is out. What do you want to do? We gotta just skip right to the chill.
Well, let's chill.
Let's chill.
But yeah, I could see maybe not in the exact same realm of knowledge, but similar, like a scientist and a teacher.
Sure.
Or a scientist and someone that deals with measurements, or scientist and a chef, something like that. And they look at it and go, these measurements are wrong. You've got them in metric. I'm going to transcribe them into feet for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's a common measurement that chefs work with is kilometers per meter per second squared. It's common. I see lots of recipes with newtons, also common in the Betty Crocker cookbook that I have.
And they're like, no. You meant mile per hour. What if they're a race car driver? There you go.
Speaking of numbers that aren't made up, Dev, you're not going to believe this.
Maybe I am, maybe I'm not.
It's an auspicious day. Not only are we moving to a Tuesday download so that we have a little bit extra time to publish these episodes out to the internet to give ourselves a little bit more sanity doing the post records and Cass being able to help us out. But I'm also here to report to you that at the time of this recording, we broke 1,000 downloads, Dev. 1,034 downloads.
Woo! We're special. Spatial.
So thank you, Apocalyptos. Just genuinely from the bottom of my heart.
And mine too.
Thank you. I really did not think that a year and a half ago that we would probably still be doing this. Honestly, if you had asked me in January 2022, be like, hey, in August of 2023, are you still going to be stressing out every week to try and get one of these episodes out the door? I would have said, no, does not. I've never done something that long except for my job.
And this is a job
in my life. But I guess this is my second job. So
it is.
In the weeks that I didn't want to record, thanks for bugging the shit out of me. And I'm glad I was there to bug the shit out of you in the weeks that you didn't want to record.
Let's be honest. If there wasn't bugging the shit out of me, I probably would be here half the time. You have to bug the shit out of me. I get so easily distracted. I'm like, oh shit, yeah, we haven't recorded in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, but I think we both said that to each other, during the initial conversation when you said, I've always thought about doing this, but I just need somebody who'd be a kick in my pants. And I said the same thing right back to you. That's probably been the singular force that has kept this going. So all jokes aside, and again, I rarely say that on the show. Thanks, Dev. Thanks, Apocalyptos. And we're here for another 1,000 more. I guess that's up to you guys.
We are here for your entertainment. Well, mainly we're here for our own entertainment, but yours is also nice to have too. Maybe, I guess. Because if we didn't have somebody to listen to it, we would just listen to ourselves. And I hate listening to my own voice.
I don't hate listening to my own voice, but I don't think that I would. Never in my life before putting out this show did I record myself to listen to myself back. And now that I listen back to the show to type up the show notes and to do the edits, I have listened to myself talk for more hours in this most recent year and a half than I have far and away before that. And honestly, I find myself pretty entertaining. So thanks for that too, Apocalyptos. Not just your interest, but for allowing me to be interested in what I have to say.
Yeah. Thank you for entertaining Kyle. That's what we learned is thank you for entertaining Kyle. You guys are great, but Kyle is the most important person to be entertained here.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I don't argue with that in the slightest. We were talking about space, though.
Space.
And I looked down my notes and I found something that I was going to bring up with you. I read that they are potentially running out of juice on the Voyager 1 and 2 as early as 2025, that they won't be getting enough solar power to recharge the batteries based on what they need. And so what they're going to do is put them into this like deep cryo sleep and just wake the satellites back up every 6 months and have the satellites just send all of their sampled data back in these big bursts and just see how long they last, because they get information back from them all the time. And so I've had that in my notes to tell you about, but just recently I saw another one where they misaligned the Voyager antenna, and it is currently off base from the sun and unable to send any signals back to the Earth.
I saw that too. Just a couple $100 million floating around, no connection. Just, hey, we don't know how to talk to it. No biggie.
Well, they do know how to talk to it. It is misaligned by 0.2 degrees. However, that 0.2 degrees, based on the distance, right? You do your triangle math, results in 43.6 million miles that the signals are missing Earth by.
That's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of miles.
That's a lot of laps around the track.
Speaking of people who we thought got fired from NASA, there's a person from the 1976 Voyager software plan that should get a promotion. I mean, they've been off the job for 50 years. They're probably dead by now, but hopefully they are alive to see their success played out. We've only lost contact with Voyager 2 until October, when it has an automatic subroutine that will just reset the alignment. Somebody wrote that into the software code 50 years ago when they launched it.
Good forethought.
So whoever wrote that code in there deserves QA Analyst of the Year, of the decade.
Definitely. Of the century, of the millennium, quite possibly. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what other accolades they're going up against, but that's a pretty big one, especially to have that wherewithal and forethought that long ago without any kind of technological advancements that we had since then, to think, okay, I got to program this. So, because somebody somewhere or something is going to screw up and I got to cover my own ass 50, 60, 70 years in the future, whether they work there or not, they definitely deserve, or their family, if they've passed away, their family deserves some kind of bonus, I think. Make it happen, damn it, NASA.
If they give out Emmys for software quality assurance engineers, whatever, Oscars, Emmys, Tonys, whatever it is, that person deserves one. Greatest rescue,
the equivalent
in the history of software.
What would that be called for the Devies? The Devies. That's what they'd be called, the Devies.
That's what we've actually gotten. We've actually gotten 14 of those for this show.
Yes.
Already. We get a Devie. Every time they've been up for grabs, we've gotten best podcast in the Devies.
Devie. Oh, yeah.
So I really want to thank you for that. We've been able to add that to our long list of accolades.
Just because of the name of the podcast. multi-winner of the Devie, even though we have nothing to do with software development.
Nope. We just have a Devie on our team. Devie and Kylie start the Apocalypsie.
Kylie? Are you fucking a Kardashian now?
No, I was just named Kyle in the 4th grade when Kylie Minogue was all over the airwaves. So yeah, I've been called Kylie more than a few times.
La 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 la. That's my Kylie Minogue impression.
It's riveting.
That was great. It's uncanny. Uncanny.
You know I like dinosaurs, Dev.
Oh yeah, because we talked about dinosaurs.
And you know what I don't like is giant creatures.
You giant what?
Giant creatures. I found out. So having dinosaurs is one thing. Like dinosaurs are just sort of different because they are like all of them are gone. And birds are fucking horrible. And I get it. Birds are just dinosaurs that weren't smart enough to jump into the fireball when it was available. I got that part.
And alligators.
There are regular normal creatures back through history who like if you just look through the fossil record, apparently you can find giant versions of regular today creatures. I think we've talked about this before, that they found evidence of a 5-foot penguin that lived at the same time as people, like 11,000 years ago.
That's scary.
Pleistocene. There were a bunch of giant creatures. There's a North American cave bear that was like 11 feet tall.
Cave bear. Not cocaine bear. Cave bear.
You're not going to be surprised when I tell you that this fossil was found in Australia.
Shocker.
But this one at least did not live at the same time as people. This one was 252 million years ago.
It's a lot of millions.
What do you think it is, Dev? It was here's the numbers. 1 meter, aka 3 feet, 252 million years ago, and it lived in fresh water.
Spider.
That's pretty good, Dev. It was a scorpion.
Close.
A fresh water scorpion.
I didn't know scorpions lived in the water.
Neither did I.
A 3-foot tall scorpion.
3 foot long scorpion. I don't know if it was 3 feet tall. 3 feet tall would be fucked up.
Yeah, I'm thinking like height of with the tail just standing
maybe
normal, kind of how it curls over their back. That being at 3 feet. And then I was trying to think of like how long would that sucker be if it's 3 feet with the tail curled up. Yeah, still, that's the size of an alligator, basically, with a stinger.
Yeah, like a small alligator with a scorpion stinger.
They can move quicker. Well, I don't know. What's the land speed of a scorpion, of a modern day scorpion?
They're quick little fuckers when I had to kill one on my counter the other day. But I think, they're just moving out of the way of my flip-flop.
If you had to guess.
Faster than a flip-flop. That's how.
12 miles an hour. They can run up to 12 miles an hour. That's fast for a little tiny thing. Now, how would you, because 12 miles an hour for something that small, I mean, I guess the speed is the speed, no matter the size. Would it scale up as it got larger?
Speed's the speed, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess 12 miles an hour would be 12 miles an hour, even if 3 meter long or a meter long.
Yeah, house cats and lions, I think, are the same speed. Obviously, there's the cheetah, but that's like sort of a specialized cat. But I think if you measure a regular house cat and a lion, obviously huge size difference, I bet they're sort of the same speed on the land. I'm never going to Google it, so I'm glad that you're here on this show.
According to this from petcareprescription.com or PetCareRx.
If you want to sponsor the show, PetCareRx.
Yes, we'll take your sponsorship. But pound per pound, your cat is stronger and faster than a fully grown tiger. And not only that, but domesticated cats exceed the flexibility of any other large cat by leagues, giving them yet another clear advantage in a hunt. Ta-da! House cats are God's perfect little killing machine.
That's why that Polish scientist wanted to name them an invasive species, because they'll fuck your shit up.
So pound for pound, they are faster and stronger than a fully grown tiger. Pound for pound. So based on that, now I'm confused.
Confused about what?
What is the key to predict animal speed? Here we go. This is exactly what I'm looking for.
Tell me all about it.
That douchebag on Joe Rogan's podcast right now, Googling shit to show.
Never listen to that shit. So You can be the douchebag on my podcast.
Well, I am the douchebag on your podcast, basically. Okay, this is way too long of a read. I need graphs and quick and bold text. I was wanting to know, like, okay, if you have something that can go a certain mile per hour,
We should just have ChatGPT come on the show.
Yeah, it would do much better than I'm doing right now. So yeah, back to the scorpion, 12 miles an hour. That's not as fast as a crocodile, or an alligator, because they can go, I think, like 20 miles an hour, can't they? Let's find out. 20 miles an hour. I was right. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's in the water. Let's on land. We need land. They can reach up to 35 miles an hour on land.
The crocodile?
That's a gator. I don't know what a croc is.
An alligator. Alligator goes 35 miles an hour on land.
Up to 35 miles an hour on land.
Which is faster than you.
Well, yes.
You swim 20 miles an hour. That's faster than you.
Yep.
That means you have to make up all that time on the bicycle when you're in the triathalon.
Yes, because they can't ride bikes.
I mean, you don't know. I've never seen a crocodile try to ride a bike.
Would they ride a bike like a human would with
those little fucking legs?
With their hand up? Or would they would they need like a special bike where they can like lay on it?
Like a recumbent bike?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Would they be able to ride it like a normal person?
Pedal-powered alligator wheelchair.
It's not a wheelchair. It's a sit-down bike. Get the sit-down bike with the croc. This is the lay-down bike.
I have to tell you about the other scorpion that I learned about. 252 million years ago. Same time frame.
There's another big creature coming.
3-foot sea scorpion, or the lake scorpion, lives in Australia. At the same time, there's a sea scorpion that lived in salt water. How big was the sea scorpion? Price is Right rules. It's bigger than the lake scorpion.
I was assuming so because it's got a larger body of water to grow in. And at the time, probably much larger predators and prey to go against. I'm going to say, now, did this sucker live? Did it swim? Or did it live like on the bottom of the ocean?
I don't know.
I'm going to say, so the lake scorpion was 1 meter long. I'm going to say that the ocean scorpion was 10 meters long.
Okay, you do not get the trip to Cancun because you went over. Because 10 meters is 30 fucking feet. That's a scorpion the size of a great white shark.
That's what I was thinking.
So fuck that shit. But 2.5 meters, aka 8 feet. Imagine just like rolling in the waves and an 8-foot scorpion comes for your ass.
Half crab, half lobster, or quarter crab, quarter lobster, half snake ass. Because their claws are kind of like in between a lobster and a crab.
Snake ass?
Yeah, their stinger. It's like a snake.
Oh.
Venom. It's like a snake bite, but it's an ass instead of a head.
I thought you meant that time that guy from G.I. Joe was trying to step out with that girl from Cobra. He was trying to get a little snake ass. That's not what you meant, though.
Snake Eyes was trying to get some snake ass.
No, Snake Eyes was, I mean, yeah, he probably was. I think they all were. A la the Smurfs, there weren't a lot of girls to go around at G.I. Joe. There were a few more than the Smurfs had, but not many.
There was Sonia and Baroness. I think are the only two females that were in G.I. Joe. You had a redhead and a brunette with glasses and an accent.
Mm-hmm. The redhead Sonia. Yep, I remember her. I don't remember Baroness, but I remember a Cobra chick, and I don't remember what her name was. Was she Baroness?
She was the villain.
One each.
She was like Destro's right-hand woman.
Do whatever she wanted.
With his chrome dome.
But we got to go a little bit early because it's scorpion related, Dev. I was excited to tell you about sea scorpions. So.
Please laugh.
It's summertime in the top half of the world, Apocalyptos, and many of you will be at the beach or the pool craving a margarita or a refreshing drink. With the Blendjet 2, the ultimate portable blender, that craving can now be satisfied. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. Blendjet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work a protein shake at the gym, or even that margarita on the beach. It's whisper quiet, ensuring you can enjoy your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. It lasts for over 15 blends, recharges quickly via USB-C, and it even cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. Available in over 30 colors and patterns, there's a Blendjet 2 for every taste and style. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code DEVANDKYLE, DEVANDKYLE, to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the Blendjet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with the Blendjet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and the promo code DEVANDKYLE to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever.
It's joke time, Dev.
It is joke time.
What did Scorpion say to Sub-Zero to console him after his girlfriend broke up with him?
Get over here. Gave him a hug.
Almost, Dev. You're very close. Get over her.
Yes, sad trombone. But I told you the other day that I told my kid I tried to fly a joke by him and it crashed. It was a joke about 9/11. And
do you tell a lot of jokes about 9/11 to your young children who don't even remember that auspicious day?
No. He wasn't around for that. But he did tell me a 9/11 joke the other day that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that came out of a 10-year-old's mouth. Don't tell mom.
But tell the podcast, please.
I'm not going to repeat it on air because I don't want to get in trouble, because he would get in trouble.
God damn it. That's bullshit, Dev.
I'm not going to rat him out. I mean, given here in 2 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, within the next month, he's probably going to get ratted out and be like, what did you tell? What joke did you say?
Why would it be in 4 weeks?
Because that's about what schedule the other one is on, the significant other, the motherly unit of listening to our episodes. She's a little bit behind.
Oh, I forget that your wife listens to this show, which catches me off guard. Because I played the show for my wife the other day. One of our recent episodes that I was particularly proud of. I was like, listen, this one is a laugh a minute. There's a couple of the episodes, I'll go back into the archives. I'll say not all of them have been a laugh a minute. Sometimes we've gotten a little bit serious on this show. Always stands out in my mind. Episode 4, we got a little sort of introspective.
Yeah.
And so that one wasn't just guffaw after guffaw. But one of the recent episodes, I think from June, we were out driving and the kids weren't with us because she doesn't like. My oldest kid listens to the show and she thinks that the show is inappropriate for my own children to listen to. And so she actually doesn't like it that the kids listen to this show with me in the car. I'm like, listen, they're on the show, first of all, with the shit that they say. And second of all, if you think that my show is not just a distillation of who I am,
basically,
like this is the person you chose to have children with. So sorry. It had been so long since we had recorded the episode that some of the jokes I had forgotten, and I actually made myself laugh. And I look every time I was like, oh, that's funny. And I look at her and it's just fucking stone face while she's driving. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me.
See, there's times where we've listened to it together where she will laugh. And I'm like, you thought that was funny? I'm like, I didn't think that was funny. I guess that's good. I guess we're funny when we don't know we're funny. But then there's times where she'll do the same thing and just be like stone faced when we'll have a hilarious part. And I'm like, what the? That's when you're supposed to be laughing the most, is that part. That was like intentionally meant to be funny, not just one of those unintentional hilarity moments. Like this episode in particular is just going to be her going, okay. This, I don't know if this is one of your best. Yeah. I don't know if this is your best. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We gotta salvage it.
We will salvage it. We have plenty of time to salvage it.
I am going to salvage it for you because here's what happened. There was a conversation in my family the other day about so my wife's family is very large. I think I've said this. Like, my wife legitimately knows and is on a first name basis with her 4th cousins. So when we travel back, like when we went on this road trip and we saw my wife's family,
first name with 4th cousin. That's pretty far.
They share a great grandparent, and they know how they're connected. And so there's always this sort of discussion about what does it mean to be a cousin? What is the definition of a cousin? What's the definition of like once removed, which is a thing that I looked up just because I was fascinated by all these people in her family knowing what that means.
Yeah.
They don't know. They're just like, oh, they're cousins. And I met this family and I'm like, holy shit, you know your 4th cousin. So then I like figured it out so that I could do the math for them, because they always like refer. They're like, I don't know, 3rd, 2nd, 1st cousins, 52 times removed. I don't even know what that means. They'll just say it to each other. I'm the sort of guy where I had to stop them and be like, well, actually, you're wrong about how you're related.
Well, actually,
that's my baggage. I'm just going to admit that.
Let me tell you how you're wrong. Let me tell you how you're wrong about your own family.
And they were wrong, which is the important part of the story.
And that's the best part.
But we ended up in this conversation with my own children about what would constitute unclehood, aunthood.
In the hood.
My children postulating that their own children would be cousins with each other, etc. I'm glad that it was the case, but it caught me off guard completely that my children were just like not at all fazed by the idea that one of them would like boys or like girls. I have 2 boys and a girl, and they were discussing it. My daughter was like not making assumptions about whether or not my boys would end up with men or with women. She's like, if you end up with a girl, then and I was like, okay, cool, great. Sending you to this hippie school is working. But then they got into this conversation about they understand how biology works. They were finally putting 2 and 2 together that like if 2 boys end up together, like how do you end up with kids? Because my daughter was saying how she's going to have kids and she wants to also be an aunt. And so my other son, like if he ends up with a boy, like he better figure out a way to make kids. So my oldest son, who is deeply aware of how children work, and we'll just say it out loud later. I mean, sorry, buddy, when you hear this later, but he's deeply aware of the fact that he's into girls, and it's very clear at 12 years old. Like,
he's deeply aware. Keep it in your pants.
The nervousness has started, so he's remaining very tight-lipped about it.
Keep it that way.
But he's listening to the other 2, and then they're saying like, well, how do 2 boys have kids? And my wife was like, well, you can do adoption, you can do surrogacy. And they're asking about what surrogacy is. And then we were just giving them the example of Neil Patrick Harris, who is a famous person that they're aware of. And we were talking about surrogacy. This is a very, very long lead up to a comment by my son that just cracked me up. So Neil Patrick Harris, I don't know if you know this, but we know this in my family. He's got twins.
Yes.
And I knew that those twins were the result of surrogacy.
I did not know that. I thought he had adopted.
No, they didn't adopt. And so I Googled it later to figure this out. And I was wrong at the time. At the time, I postulated that what they had done was that Neil Patrick Harris had done a surrogacy with one woman, and that his partner had then done surrogacy with another woman, and that those children were then born basically the same time. And they were just calling them twins, but that they were assured that one was genetically Neil's and one was genetically David's, is his partner's name. That's what I thought that they had done. To which
it's not.
Then my children immediately were like, well, then how are they related?
You're like,
And my wife was like immediately like, they're brother and sister. Like, that's how they're like the truth of their relationship, which is true. They are brother and sister. That is, of course, that's what their family means to them. And I don't want to take anything away from that family. That is, of course, the actual answer. But without the concept of legal adoption, I was like, well, they're step siblings. If they have 2 different fathers and 2 different mothers and their parents are then married, they're just step siblings.
Basically, yeah.
To which my oldest said, then they're step twins. And
Yep.
step twins just gave me the giggles.
It's like how is that? I mean, yeah. Well, there's no possible way for that to be a possibility except for in that specific scenario, the way you described it just now. If you don't describe the scenario that way, step twins is an impossible reality.
It's not, though, because, of course, I started thinking this through. Like a million monkeys at a million typewriters, there are families come in all shapes and sizes. If you're an apocalypto who has step twins in your family that happened like this, email us at devnkylesta@gmail.com because we would love to have you on the show. Step twins can happen because people are born on the same day in the same year all the time. And people who are getting married, have a couple of kids, get divorced, and then get married again, and to sometimes have kids of approximately the same ages. So it is not outside the astronomical realm of possibility that some family out there got divorced, came back together, and found out that they had children on the exact same day, and then they fall in love and get married, and then now they've got step twins in their family.
Yep. Yeah, that is a completely logical scenario. Holy shit. I have never even,
because fraternal twins are still twins.
this is okay. I'm going to take this because this is my job on this podcast to do this. I'm going to take this to a very inappropriate space because this is what we do when we salvage and we get on a roll.
What do you mean we?
That is opening up for an entirely brand new category.
Don't say porn.
Which this opens up a completely brand new category.
Don't say porn.
It opens up a completely brand new category of you know what?
Of Saturday morning children's television?
Yes. Saturday morning children's cartoons on ABC called Step Twins. Somebody's got to be the pioneer. And there's a lot of underlying adult jokes.
That show belongs on TLC, not ABC.
Help me, Step Twin. I'm stuck.
Oh my God. My hands are glued to the washing machine. Stop it, Dev. That's inappropriate. Golly.
I mean, that was the first.
That's the first thing that came into your head?
I blame Reddit. Reddit has warped my brain. I swear. That it's Reddit's fault.
Oh my God. If you didn't have top billing, I would have you fired.
That's the thing is anytime somebody says something about step siblings, that comes, help me, step brother. I'm stuck. Just comes in my head. I giggle and I move past it. And then this new revelation of a true possibility of step twins. I mean, it writes itself.
No, it wrongs itself.
OnlyFans needs a subsection. And dun 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 dun. And if you know that jingle,
oh my God.
If you know what that is, if you know boom, 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 that's all I'm saying. And that is that.
Stop. Just stop. Stop. I have to go to my notes. Speaking of not talking about that anymore, I have to go to my notes for something that is not about that at all in any way. What do we got? Oh, here we go. Here's a funny story. It happened one time. It has nothing to do with any of that.
I bet I'll find a way to bring it back.
You know what? That's a challenge. That's a challenge. Go for it.
All right.
Once upon a time, my brother-in-law had a real hard time waking up because he worked third shift.
Your brother-in-law had a real hard. I mean, right there.
My God.
He started it off right off the bat. Challenge 1.
If anybody in my family listened to this show, you'd be in trouble.
All right, continue. Sorry. I won't interrupt anymore.
He worked third shift, and so he had a real hard time waking up. So we got him this alarm clock. This is fucking hilarious. We got him this alarm clock, and it was supposed to be the world's loudest alarm clock. And then also, it was actually pretty ingenious little setup. You know those little like helicopter toys where you pull the zipper and then the little helicopter blade flies off into the air?
Yeah. Goes, zzz. Yeah.
It had a battery backup, so you could not just unplug it from the wall. So you left it plugged into the wall, but it had a battery backup. And then it had that little propeller top on the top of this alarm clock. And so it would start going off at like 100 decibels, like jet engine loud. and the little spinner top would spin out of it and then fly around your room somewhere. And you could unplug it from the wall and the batteries would keep going. And there was like a screwdriver over the battery compartment. And then the only way to turn off the alarm was to find a helicopter spinner and replace it.
Tape it on so it doesn't go off.
He loved it.
Oh,
no, he loved this alarm clock because he needed to get up out of bed because you'd work third shift. He'd get like 3 hours of sleep. He'd have to get up for some doctor's appointment or something. Well, he was gone and it went off, and his mom was at the house, my mother-in-law, and she did she unplugged it from the wall. She had no idea that the little spinner even was attached to it. Nothing. And he came home. I can't even tell the story with a straight face. She put it in the oven. She didn't turn it on, but the oven was soundproof enough that she could ignore the sound.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. She's like, I tried putting it on her pillows, but it's too loud. And she put it in the oven.
I'm going to put it in the oven. Yeah. Didn't think to try to grab a screwdriver and take the back off. Oven. That's a good soundproof area for the most part.
Yeah. It is pretty soundproof. Honestly, I thought it was pretty ingenious when I heard the story.
I would say using the oven to mute a god-awful 100 decibel alarm clock is a better use of an oven than what I read on Reddit this morning of this guy came home from being out with his friends, went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend, light sleeper, thankfully light sleeper, hears him go into the kitchen and is rumbling around in the oven, because they keep pans in there. Most people, a lot of people, we do keep just kind of pans that we'd use just for the oven in the oven for storage. Rattling around, and she's like, what does he do in the oven? And then she starts to hear what she thought was the sink. And it was not the sink. He was sleepwalking and pissing in the oven. And it took a good 5 minutes for him to come to reality and realize what he was doing. And by then he'd already peed all in the oven. So she was asking Reddit. She wasn't posting on Reddit just saying the story. She was asking Reddit, how do I clean my oven out? It was in a cleaning tips subreddit that I've subscribed to that gives you cool little cleaning tips of how to clean just random things that you would never expect to clean, very niche stuff that people will ask, but then just general house cleaning, clothes cleaning, car cleaning, detailing stuff. This was one of the weirdest things I'd ever read.
Oven has to have
self-cleaning.
Yeah.
Run self-cleaning. You use those, get the spray foam stuff, and then use self-cleaning.
Or just set it to 700 degrees and leave the house and come back.
Yeah, because it's going to smell like burnt ammonia when that piss starts baking in there.
It's going to smell like burnt piss. Yeah.
But it'll evaporate.
I mean, sure. One would hope. I don't know.
But yeah, using the oven to silence an alarm, much better than using it as a urinal.
Aren't the clouds on Venus made out of ammonia? It's speaking of, this was just the space episode. The clouds on Venus,
Space.
And I'm not going to Google it, so we're treating it as a fact, are made out of ammonia, I think. Ammonia, methane, a lot of different things. And Venus is 900 degrees. That's hotter than an oven.
It's sulfuric acid. It's thick and yellowish.
In piss or in Venus?
If piss is thick and yellowish, you might be dehydrated.
Is there ammonia on Venus? That's the question.
Is there ammonia on Venus? I don't know. Venus ammonia. I'm assuming so because as soon as I started, product of ammonia makes Venusian clouds habitable. What?
Venusian.
This is from pnas.org. PNAS, not penis. pnas.org. PNAS.
No, it is not. God, stop trying to make step twins on this show happen, Dev.
It really is. I'm sharing this with you right now. This actual document from PNAS. See? Look, pnas.org.
I'm not clicking on your PNAS. That is an actual domain. I don't know that I doubted that pnas.org was P-nasty. That's what that is.
The nasty PNAS. The VNAS PNAS.
When you told the story about somebody peeing somewhere inappropriate, it immediately jumped into my head. When my kids were younger, we'd be out in the backyard. In my backyard, you kind of have this sort of away from the house area. and there's like a grapevine climbing up it in that corner of the yard. And it never ever makes any grapes. That's just fantasy. The idea that there would be real fruit.
Because you're in the desert.
They make some beautiful wines about an hour north of me because it's about 20 degrees cooler 365 days a year.
Because it's not the desert.
So they make some wonderful. It's Cornville. The guy from Tool has a vineyard out there.
Yeah, Maynard. Yeah, his vineyard's there. Yes. They should call it Grapesville.
Yes. Yes, Dev, they should. You're absolutely right. So I just told the boys to just go pee on the grapevine while we were in the backyard. And they're young. It's fine. It's fine now when they're old. You should pee outside. It saves water. But we were having like a if I remember this story correctly, it was like an actual birthday party in the backyard. There were a bunch of people there who don't normally come to my house. And a lot of my very good friends, but like acquaintances because their child and my child were friends. As you know this, but when you start to have, when your child is a baby, everyone who comes to the first birthday party is definitely your friend. And every year, there start being more and more adult strangers at the birthday party of your children until finally you reach like 12 or 13. I'm finding you just don't have to go anymore, which is great. They get friends from school. You've never met these parents before. And you've got to just make like cocktail small talk with the parents of your children's friends. Luckily, this is like 5. So it's like still 70% my friends at the party. And then just a couple of kids from school at this party. We had a 2-story playhouse in the backyard. And he just sidled up on the second floor and put it between the slats and just beat off the end of the thing.
Onto the grapevine.
Just a 6-foot golden arch.
He was making his own McDonald's.
Like he had done it a bunch of times before.
He's like, ba 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 ba. I'm pissing it.
I was not the first person to notice. And then screams went up across the adults at the party that you shouldn't pull your wing wang out and piss between the slats of the playhouse.
Sure you can.
He didn't hit anybody or anything.
Listen, so one thing I have taught the boy is, as a man, the world is your urinal.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be somewhat strategic about where and when.
Yeah.
Somewhat strategic.
Yeah.
Just make sure like only one or two people.
But don't leave your daughter out of that.
Oh, yeah. Well, she can, especially now that they have the little cup things that you can use to help you pee standing up.
They do. Not the little cup things. Chinese soup spoons.
Well, then I will get her one.
We're big campers in my family. My wife is the owner of it's the pea style. It looks like a Chinese soup spoon. And you just sort of put it where it belongs. And then it's just a funnel end. And it just works.
That's awesome.
My wife loves it. Where, you're out in the forest and you just need to.
I will definitely get that.
Just like you and I can use a tree. My wife can also use a tree with one $7.99 upgrade from Amazon. That's all you need.
Boom.
So anybody who needs
that's something that we need.
Everyone should pee on a tree. If you need, you should get that. Pee style, if you want to sponsor the show, email us at devnkylesta@gmail.com.
Coming to our merch store, Devin Kyle Pee Style.
We should get one of those.
You heard it here first. Pee in style with Devin Kyle. It writes itself. I mean,
there are so many things about today's episode that I do not like.
Well, that makes 2 of us. And it's me.
I like you. That makes one of us.
I feel like I've disappointed you and my family.
You haven't disappointed me. No. Maybe your family. I don't know. I'm not your family. I am your friend, and you haven't disappointed me.
Definitely my family.
You're not anywhere off the mark of what I expected today. But I will say, here, you know what I'll say to you? Today's episode is exactly what I wanted.
What I needed.
And as we reach the end of the show today, I am so happy to have done 1,000 downloads with you so far. And I'm looking forward to the next 1,000, Dev. If any of our Apocalyptos could just hurry up quick, just like spin it real fast, just click on that link and download it 1,000 times. I think that would accelerate it. I could round it off at 2,000. That'd be all right.
I'd be cool with that. I have no shame in pumping some numbers.
Apparently you have no shame in pumping some step twins either. And on that note, there has only one thing left to say for the end of this episode. And that is, I have been Kyle.
Been me? Dev? Yeah, I've been me.
And we have attempted to start the apocalypse. Good night, everybody.
Night, John Boy. Help me, Step Twin Scorpion. I'm stuck.
Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse is brought to you every other week with a full archive available at devnkyle.com. The Apocalypse theme and other music in the show is written and performed by Chase Noseworthy. He's Chase Noseworthy on YouTube or at NoseworthyChase on Twitter. All graphic design for Dev and Kyle Start the Apocalypse has been created by Dead Vision. Find her work on Twitter and Insta at XDADOTTER and book her immense talents at xdadotter.com. Audio engineering provided by Cassandra Umsong. She can make you sound even better than Dev and Kyle because you'll provide much better raw materials. Get in touch with her on Twitter at coffeewithcoom. That's coffee with COUM. Dev and Kyle support artists and creatives of all types. Exposure is for film. Artists need compensation. If you're interested in becoming an Apocalypto to help keep supporting all of the artists who make Dev and Kyle sound passably professional, please consider becoming a sustaining patron at patreon.com/devandkyle. Show notes, transcripts, and any other information from this episode should be available at devandkyle.com if Dev and or Kyle did their job. Fingers crossed. Finally, deeply and sincerely, Dev and Kyle think that you are a wonderful person who deserves love and compassion. We hope our small gift of what we consider interesting or entertaining has made your day even the tiniest bit better. Thank you for liking or subscribing in your favorite podcast app. And if you think others may want to know about this show, consider leaving a review in that same podcast app. It really helps us spread the word. Thank you.